All right. How's it going? It's good to see you again, Jeffrey.
Yes, absolute pleasure.
Yes. I'm so excited. So we're doing episode number 2 today of Run It by My Lawyer, and I'm excited because after the first episode, people, as always, they run things by me, and my motto: unless it's a restaurant bill, don't sign anything unless you
Run it by your lawyer.
Yes. There has been so many times where people have gotten into, lawsuits and they've had to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars defending or prosecuting or trying to get themselves out of it or whatever, when they could have just called me for 5 minutes and I would have said, do not sign that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's really weird. So I've been a trial lawyer for 21 plus years. So I could read contracts now in just a few minutes.
Yeah.
Like I could read
You know where the important parts are?
Yes.
What's
I know.
boilerplate?
Yes. I know where the boilerplate is. I know what the very, very important parts are. And I know, don't sign it, do sign this. This is fair. This is not fair.
You can at least catch those red flags early.
Yeah. So people, I don't know. I don't get it. But people just sign things. They just want to hurry things along, or they feel embarrassed to try to tell someone, oh, can you change this? Or,
right.
When you're going into a new deal or something with someone, like everything is like hunky dory.
Yeah.
It's like my joke. I always say it's like getting into a marriage, right? Yeah. Which I don't know. You've just been recently married, right?
Yes,
When was it? Look at that. Look at that.
Within the last month.
So what was the wedding day?
It was the 21st of December.
Okay. Look at that. You knew it right away. I'm proud of you. Okay.
I should at least be able to remember it for a month. If I forget my anniversary within the first month, I'm having some issues.
Yes. But no, that's a good day to get married, December 23rd. That's good.
21st.
Yeah.
I guess you're trying to catch. It's like, is this a trap?
I'm just joking. Yeah. That was a joke.
Oh no. Yeah, it's actually, we did it on the winter solstice, so it's the shortest day of the year. So it's
that's right, December 21.
It's the first day of winter, so it's like I have something to kind of remember it with. So
I have a feel one day if your wife ever gets mad at you, she could say, and she'd be accurate by saying, it was the darkest day of the year.
Yes, it was the darkest day.
Right?
Indeed.
And she'd be spot on.
She'd be very accurate.
Yes.
But I'm appreciative that at least we tied it to a date where I can remember it, always look it up,
Yes, that's a good idea. I like that. I like that too. I like that. And the other thing I tell people to run by me, remember we were talking about this before we got on, is what type of car insurance policy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you were telling me about a guy who got his leg amputated.
Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. Yeah. You have to buy very, very good insurance. And it's like probably the only industry where I tell people, when they try to upsell or they tell, you should get this better product, probably insurance is the only one where you should get the best possible insurance. Because this poor guy, what happened was, he worked. He did maintenance or something at a casino, and it was like in East San Diego, right?
Mm-hmm.
And his shift got out at 5 a.m. Okay, so he's driving home, and then something happened. His car wasn't like it was like his car broke down, so he had to get on the side of the road. But it was one of those kind of it was on the freeway. It was right on the freeway. It was one of those things where it was like a long, windy road, but then he got on the freeway, right? And then right when he got on the freeway, his car broke down. He had to pull over to the side. And the second he got out of a car, this driver hit him because it was like really early in the morning and she didn't see him, she said. And she didn't see, it was like foggy or something. Mm-hmm. And this poor guy, he was in the hospital for I think 3 months, had a few surgeries, and they had to amputate his right leg.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, that's a bummer. Yeah, they had to amputate. Now, by the way, we probably have to say the bummer part is because I've told Jeffrey and my other friends, like when they ask me, well, how does a jury know what to give someone, what to award someone for pain and suffering? Because it's not like lost income where you could kind of like tell the person exactly what it, or tell the jury exactly what it is.
What's a leg worth?
Yeah, it's kind of like what's that? What is what they call the pain and suffering? So what my joke used to be when I taught law was, well, it's a bummer, and the question you ask the jury, and we do it more professionally, obviously. It's how much of a bummer, like how much money can you put on the, like, so if someone gets hit by a car and they have like a pain in their, back and their neck for a few months, they go to a chiropractor and it's more or less taken care of. That's a bummer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like a $10,000 bummer, maybe $5,000. Yeah. Right. Your leg is amputated and he was 23 years old at the time. That is right.
A big bummer.
That's a big bummer. Right.
Yeah.
So that's like he probably would have gotten like $3 million because for the rest of his life, his leg is amputated, right? I mean, it's going to be pain.
And he's a young guy too,
Yeah,
right?
he was 23 at the time, right? And the leg, oh my God. I've actually represented a few people who have had a leg amputated. Have you ever heard of ghost leg pain?
Yeah, I'm familiar. It's like you feel pain where the leg used to be or something.
Exactly. And my limited medical understanding is that because your body still has nerves that like you and I, thankfully, knock on wood, our legs are here. So we have nerves that go to our brain and that go down like to the legs and whatnot, right? And so those nerves are still there. But this poor guy, the leg is not there, right? But the nerves are still there that go into there. So the nerves are always sending messages to the brain. Okay, something's wrong. This is painful.
Yes.
So your brain is still thinking your leg hurts.
There is no leg to hurt.
Yeah. So this is so it's like in addition to not having your leg,
like
it still hurts.
Sounds like extra bummer.
Yeah, right?
It's a little extra bummer.
It's like so sad. And this poor guy, because he didn't have good insurance, he only got $30,000, which is nothing.
Yeah, that's
nothing, right? Because what happened was the lady that hit him had what's called a $30,000 liability limit. Okay. And then he didn't have what was called underinsured insurance. Okay. And, we're talking about, right? It's kind of that insurance is if you have a good insurance policy, and hey, one of the producers of our show, Zeke, we got he and I, anyone could read the insurance policy. You have to have this thing called underinsured insurance, which covers if, God forbid, you get hit by a driver that has bad insurance, right? Then your own insurance company will kick in. And the cost of that is so little. It's like an extra $10 a month or $30 a month, and you'll get the best insured insurance. Okay.
So basically that covers like if someone with bad insurance hits you. And
exactly.
So they're not quite, they're underinsured. So
exactly.
You have insurance against the underinsured.
Yeah. So then your insurance will come in. Yeah. So this poor guy with the leg, he didn't have...
No, without the leg.
Without the leg, sorry. Oh my gosh. Okay. So this poor guy, he didn't have that, right? And so, and the lady at him only had $30,000 limit. Yeah. And then the other thing that, it's like, he's right, everyone's right. It's that, from the casino to the freeway, it was like a long, windy road. I keep thinking of that Beatles song, but yeah, a long, windy road. And then, but it's not, it's not, they don't do anything negligent by having that. I mean, what are you going to do? There's mountains, and it's not like his employers that fall for letting him out at, 5 a.m. I mean, the casinos are 24 hours a day, right? Yeah. For better or worse, right? So, and then we even, we hired an engineer even to look at the freeway, because why was it where the freeway was, maybe the lane where you could pull over the shoulder.
Shoulder.
I think, right? Yeah. It was indeed it was 15 feet. Which is the rule in that little area is like 12 feet would be safe, and this was like a new part of the freeway, and it was 15 feet.
It's like everything.
Yeah, so everything
like
checked out.
Right.
It just so happened that the lady that hit him was just, I don't know what she was doing. I mean, it was dark. It was this. So, sometimes you just kind of like accidentally go into another lane or something. So she did that into the shoulder, and that's where he was, right? So it's to get any money from the freeway, from Caltrans, we would have had to have an engineer or someone that says this is dangerous,
right?
Things like that. And 15 feet
built
is
to code or whatever.
Exactly. So it's not built to code, or it's dangerous for some other reason, or it was designed properly, but it wasn't maintained properly.
Right.
Things like that. But this place was everything checked out, and so, yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah. I mean, $3 million might not get your leg back, but it, at least it lessens the bummer.
You feel for all these people and you try to help them, and when there's nothing we could do, it's like, whoa.
You gotta tell me, you were hinting at a helicopter story earlier.
Oh, that's right. I mentioned that.
Speaking of bummers, and
this guy, I had a case a long time ago where this guy gets in a car wreck and his injuries were so bad, and occasionally in San Diego it rains, and you know how it is when it rains in San Diego, everyone freaks out, right?
There's 17 car accidents.
There's 17 car accidents, when it rains in San Diego, And so anyway, so it was raining in San Diego. There was a lot of car crashes, and then this guy gets in a car crash, and the injuries were so bad, they said, we got to hurry him to the hospital, but we can't take an ambulance because it's raining in San Diego. Everywhere was the freeways were all screwed up, right? So it's like, it was weird. Anyway, so they get a helicopter. And it was kind of in a weird part of the county where, it wasn't that accessible, right? So anyway, so they get a helicopter, and they helicopter him to the hospital. Mm-hmm. And then the helicopter got in a crash. like what the heck, dude?
Back to back. Like, not very many people get in car accidents very often, right? But it's like getting in 2 accidents in one day. And
one of them being a helicopter crash. And on the same day, right? That case was a mess because that case, the person that hit him, they're responsible for so much, right? Yeah. They're responsible for the injuries from the car wreck. Yeah. And then the helicopter crash, it was thankfully he survived. It was a type of thing where they crash on the top of the hospital,
like on the pad, pad kind of thing.
Land, but it was a pretty bad crash, right? Yeah. So anyway, so we had to get these are the injuries from the car crash. These are the injuries from the helicopter crash. This is what he would have been like had there not been the helicopter crash, right? So when you have all these defendants, and then the toughest part is the defendants do what we call in law pointing fingers. Yeah. Right? Kind of like when you and I were little kids, it's his fault. Right? It's his fault. It's his fault. Right? We're all pointing fingers. As lawyers, these like professional lawyers, we like to do the same thing. We like to point fingers like little kids. Right? So the insurance company for the helicopter was saying, well, our helicopter crash didn't hurt the guy. He was already effed up. Right? So
which one of those statements could be true, already effed up, but
but so we didn't F him up.
You still crashed a helicopter.
Yeah, you crashed a helicopter, but we didn't F him up any more than he was already effed up. And sure enough, what the lawyers for the guy that caused the car crash, what do you think they said?
No, he would have been fine if it wasn't for that helicopter crash.
Our car crash turned him from a regular person, and we hit him in such a way that he could have been the next Michael Phelps. We freaking made him look better, right? With our car crash.
We perfectly aligned his back.
His back was disaligned, and this car crash realigned him.
His
and
back,
if it wasn't for that helicopter crash, he'd be in the Olympics by now, right?
Yeah.
So, oh my gosh. So that was the worst thing to do. And then we had another case. This guy in 2015, he got into the smallest fender bender. Like he's at a stop sign. Yeah. Okay, and it was in a parking lot. Mm-hmm. Okay, and this old guy hits him ever so lightly. Yeah. Okay, and to the point where they walked up and he looked at the thing, the bumper, and he's like, I think I could just fix this. He was a handyman. Right? He's like, I think I should just fix this. And the old man was such a nice guy, blah, blah, blah. And then sure enough, a couple days goes by and he's still in a little bit of pain, this and that. And then a couple more days, blah, blah, blah. So he calls me because he's a friend of mine. And finally he runs it by his lawyer. I tell him, wait a minute, just go to the doctor right away. Just let's just see what's going on. And it just so happened that the bump, like it hit him in this, like it just hit his spine in such a way, like the spine, the bones in the spine, right? There's
vertebrae.
Yeah. There's all these nerves that run in the middle of them, right? Yeah. So if it's pinched the wrong way, dang it pinches these nerves, right? Yeah. And that's what happened to him. Yeah. So it was a real, and forgive me because like I said, my medical knowledge is very low, but I learned some of these.
You're a lawyer,
right? So this poor guy. He gets, so it was just one of those things. And then it was really weird because he didn't end up having any pain over the years. He just had a really bad numbness.
Oh yeah.
It was really weird. Like imagine, you're trying to go somewhere, but it's like, it's just numb. Your back is numb. This is numb. And so sometimes he'd have pain because he would like try to overexert himself, like, by walking too much, like nothing like, and he's a handyman, right? So he was doing, he does handyman work, right? Anyway, so it was a really, really bad thing. Which you gotta, the law firm representing the driver, I mean, they were trying to say, come on, just a couple of pinched nerves. They tried giving him like $3,000 or something.
It's just a pinch
nerves.
Pinch nerves.
They made it sound like the pinch nerve is like, like me pinching your little cheek. Like,
that's cute. That's
cute. It's a pinch nerve, right? Yeah. So they wanted to give him originally something like $3,000. He ended up because this thing is gonna, he had to have a couple of surgeries and this and that, and it was, he ended up getting something like a lot of money. It was like $800,000 or so.
Oh, wow.
It was because it was a pretty significant amount of thing, right?
Affects his work,
then,
that kind of stuff.
It just so happened, sure enough, after all of this, he was a champ. He went to physical therapy. He went to chiropractor. He went to physical therapy. He did every exercise. Like he would sleep. He bought a different type of bed with the money.
Yeah.
Right. And he did like everything you could think of. And then after 2 years, he was getting better. And then he gets in another car crash. In fact, it was on a Tuesday, and that Friday, 3 days after, it was going to be his last physical therapy appointment. And he gets in this car crash on Tuesday, and it just, because he was already kind of, messed up, right? It just kind of re-injured everything. And then he was right back to square one.
Right.
It was just, I couldn't believe it. What happened to him. So so now we're actually ongoing. Maybe the law moves very slowly. Which is what I wish cars would do, right? If only cars moved as slowly as lawyers, we'd all be fine. No, because now he has to go through more. The reason why I move slowly is because we don't know the extent of his injuries now.
Right.
So he has to go to doctors, and it's crazy because even doctors don't agree.
Of course.
It's like they look at the same person and the same x-rays, right? And then you got some doctors that say, he needs a full-on another whole back surgery.
Right.
And then this other doctor wanted to connect some sort of like permanent electric stimulator in his back, where for the rest of his life.
I don't know if I want that.
Right, that's what he said, because I'm not gonna. The rest of his life, it was some sort of like electric thing that you put on your back, and it's like it'll just shock you every now and then.
Yeah, that sounds like a blast. I'll fix it.
Right, and then it kind of just I don't know what it does, but he's serious. I mean, there's a lot of science behind this like electric stimulator, but he's like, I'm not gonna put that in. But what's crazy is, if the hospital has to pay, or if his hospital bill for the surgery, let's say, is going to be $200,000, right? And if that electric stimulator is like $30, no, it's just not $30. It was only like $20,000. Right?
Yeah, I'm sure medical devices are never
$30.
Right.
It's like I called it the Walkman. It's like, this is okay. You're gonna have like a Walkman on your back. He's an old guy like me, so he understood the Walkman reference, right? So anyway. Yeah, so the insurance company then says, well, the $200,000 surgery is unnecessary, and we're not going to pay for it, because he could just get this $30,000 electric stimulator, which works and is known to work, and everyone, it's new in the community, and the science behind it, it's like breakthrough, it's like awesome, right? So we're now currently kind of going back and forth figuring out, he elected to do the surgery, the much more expensive surgery, because he didn't trust he didn't want an electronic, and this is like connected to the spine for the rest of your life, right? He didn't want that. I don't blame him. So anyway, that's why that's why you need a lawyer, because if it's not for the lawyer, like they wouldn't have covered that the hospital surgery, the back surgery. Yeah. So that's what's going on.
You just save people a couple $100,000. Like,
yeah, exactly. So now, that's why these cases these are nightmares.
Probably something that was a quick call, like you said, a quick call from a friend.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
well, because he knew me really well, especially after the first crash. He called me, that day, And I'm like, oh no, like, what do you mean? You know, I
Yeah.
thought he was calling me to say, hey, everything's finally
look,
perfect.
I'm on my last
like,
week.
yeah,
We're
let's
doing
go
great.
out. Let's go out and,
Yeah.
and celebrate. That's why I thought he called me, but instead it was over this. Anyhow, man, but as bad as personal injury cases are, I have done, 21 years of being a lawyer. Like you end up representing so many people, and then these people, they have a lot of different issues that come up. Right? We were talking about marriage, and it made me think about it. I've had, not that it'll happen to you or anyone that but the divorce cases. I've handled a few divorce cases. Okay, and these, I swear to God, every divorce case can be a movie or something, right?
Yeah.
Every single one. And
nothing but drama.
And nothing, right. and the worst, okay. One of the things that you have to do in a divorce in every state is if you file the divorce, you have to give it to your spouse. You have to serve, us lawyers, we call it the walking papers. Okay, you have to serve the walking papers, right? I mean, what are you going to do? Just do the divorce and then not serve the paper?
You kind of both have to be part of that process.
Yeah, right.
You have to let her know or let him know.
A lot of times people get nervous about how to tell the other person, and do we tell them, or do we just have like a process server serve him? Do we do this? Do we do that? Right? And I had one case, this girl, she had just been married. It was about a year. And I told her, I go, well, I'm like, before we have a process server serve him, it's up to you. I recommend you tell him first, right? Like, and she was just, and that's it. Like, she was like, okay, fine. Like, it took her months to go, I'm going to tell him, right? And one day I'm there at the office. Okay, this is a few years ago. I'm there at the office, I'm working, and the receptionist comes up and she's like, hey, Samo, there's someone here to see you. He's here, to see you and like, to pick up something, or he's not sure what he's supposed to pick up or something. And I go out there, and I'm like, hey, how's it going? He told me his name, right? And then he's like, so I'm here to pick up the package, and he's looking around and he's like all confused.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh man, I thought I was going to like a FedEx store or something. He said, I can't remember. So I'm like, okay, here's the papers, right? And he looks at it, he's like, all right, cool. What is this? And I go, well, that's the divorce papers. And he looks at me, and this is what I remember to this day. He looks at me and goes, oh man, who's getting divorced? And I go, wait, what are you doing here?
Like, what? Actually, yeah, what were you told?
Yeah, this is what he said. He said, my wife she said that there's a package that she has to pick up, but she's at work and she can't get here. So she asked me to come here to pick it up for her. That's why I thought this is like a FedEx store or something. And I'm like, wait a minute. And it was so bad because the receptionist was looking and she picked up on what's going on.
Did I just get this big, like?
Yeah. And I said, okay, I got an idea. Let's step into the conference.
Yeah, we should get out.
Right. It was so hard. And then
that's like the most awkward thing I've ever heard.
Her telling this guy that she wants a divorce, I ended up telling him.
You had to tell.
I had to tell him, right? And then I had another case, another woman who, and it's not a thing, men are the same.
Oh, yeah.
What's it called? The men kind of procrastinate the same way and blah, blah, blah. So it just so happened that the funny ones would be another woman who got a divorce. Same thing. She had to serve the guy, right? The paperwork.
Yeah.
And she was delaying it, right? And then what she did was the guy, he had immigrated to California from the Middle East, right? And he had some family in Germany because when they immigrated to California, some of the family went to Germany and some went to California, right? And it had been like 10 years since he's seen them, okay? So he did finally, first time in 10 years since he's been to America, he was able to take this trip for like, I think it was like 5 weeks. It was something crazy. Like he didn't take time off for years so he could save up for this, right?
Yeah.
So he's going on a trip. So what she did, so she gave him the paperwork without telling him. In his luggage, she hid the divorce paperwork in his luggage. I mean, she was a champ. So she told
This is rough. This is rough.
Yeah, when she told me this, I was like, you did what?
You didn't even tell him? You just hid the papers.
She's just like, well, I didn't want to, she's looking at me with a straight face and she said something like, well, I didn't want him to leave upset on the airplane. And I'm laughing because she said it with a straight face. She's like, what do you want me to do? I don't want him to leave on the airplane upset. I want him to have a good flight, And then I wanted him when he got the paperwork, at least then he's finally with his family, so he could be with his family. Right? And she wasn't joking, you know?
I don't understand people.
Yeah, the divorce stories. Oh my God, we're going on a bad path because I had another one. Okay, this guy, oh, he was a champ. He was cheating on his wife. Okay, so he had this girlfriend. Okay, a mistress, you could say, right? And then eventually, he was cheating on his mistress. Okay, with someone else. Right?
Yeah.
And sure enough, like down the line, let me make sure I say this right. So his mistress found out that he's cheating on her with someone else.
Yes.
So she got so upset that she went to the family house where the mom and the kids, one kid was in high school too, one was in junior high, one was in grammar school. So this angry, she was so pissed. She goes to the house and she's like, guess what I've been doing with your husband, and guess what's going on? And I just feel like you have to know what is going on. Yeah, that's why I don't do divorce work.
Yeah,
anymore.
You stopped doing that?
I stopped doing that completely. I stopped doing that completely. Now, when I get these calls, I say I have very good lawyers. Yeah, run it by. Yeah. No, they could run the case. The beauty is that they can still run the whole thing by me, and then I'll listen, and then I'll refer them to the right one.
Right? Yeah. Someone who can talk people into having the conversation with the in person instead of
yes. That's why I always say
packet of papers.
Every single what's it called? Every single divorce could be a movie. I do have there's another. I have a new personal injury case. Okay, I just signed up. So this is this lady was at a red light. Okay, and then the car in front of her when the light turned green wasn't moving.
Yeah.
Right. And she said, I'm not the type that honks at people because it's rude or, people might take it the wrong way.
Yeah.
So this car wasn't freaking moving.
Yeah.
Right. So eventually she honks. Okay. And then the car started moving. All right. But the second it started moving, boom, she gets hit rear-ended. I have a feeling that the car in front of her, I bet you the guy was on his text or his texting or something, right?
Sure,
I mean, how does he miss the green light? He's probably, sitting on his phone.
Yeah.
Right. So anyway. So the car hits her, and it hit her so hard that she ended up hitting the car in front of her. I hope the guy learned his lesson, right? Anyway, so, but she was fine, okay? And then I feel, there's a thing that insurance companies kind of do, is that as soon as there's a car crash and someone reports it, the insurance company tries to call the person right away. Okay. And then for a few reasons. One, they can get a statement before that person hires a lawyer.
Right.
So that they could talk to the person, Then the other thing is, one of these, we got to get a doctor in here so they could explain some of these, right? A lot of cases, the people are, let's say the car crash happens on Monday, right? It's already the worst day of the week. So we'll call it on Monday, right? Right.
One more thing to go wrong.
One more thing to go wrong. So they get in a car crash on a Monday. Right. And then what happens is they're fine. The insurance company calls them that night or the Tuesday.
Yeah.
They're still fine. And then by a few more days, the pain starts coming in. And I've had cases where when the pain started coming in, it was bad. Like it was, a broken foot, or a broken bone or like a tear in their shoulder ligaments or something. Right. And it was like really bad. Yeah. But what happens the first few days, again, with my limited medical knowledge, right? What happens the first few days, there's all this adrenaline and people are in shock. So they're kind of like not thinking of what happened or what's going on. They're just like, it's still a shock. So when they kind of settle or whatever, they sleep a few days, and then that pain, they start noticing that pain. Whereas before, maybe that pain, they just associated it with the shock of what just happened or whatnot.
Right, of course.
Yeah. Well, man, yeah. Okay, we better not start me talking about these crazy stories I've had.
I'm sure you got a million
We're
of
going to have like episode 5,000.
Yeah.
Like, I just remembered another one that I had. Yeah. But no, I think that like you've asked me and a few people asked me before, right? The reason why I'm doing this is there's just a lot of people that they don't run things by a lawyer right away. Right. So I want people to know that they could just call me. My cell phone number, like I gave it on this episode, 672-1741, right? Just call me and run it by me because there's a lot of times people, like I'll tell people, don't talk to the insurance company, whatever you do, right? Just chill for a few days and then, or if you think you're fine, or go to a doctor, even if there's a slight.
Just get checked out.
Just get checked out, right? And don't tell the insurance or just don't contact
make any statements.
Yeah, don't make any statements, right? And, so I tell them that. And then the worst is just don't sign anything, unless.
You run it by your lawyer first.
Yeah. What's the only thing you could sign without running it by me?
Your receipt at a restaurant.
Yes, that's it. The restaurant bill. Other than a restaurant bill, run it by me because, sometimes they get in a car wreck or something and the insurance company will have them sign something or take a statement. And then it's tougher later because if the person says on Tuesday, I'm fine. Yeah, everything's cool. Do you want us to send you to a doctor, ma'am? No, it's cool. Yeah. Do you need any, like on a scale of 1 to 10, does anything hurt? No. So 0, right?
Yeah.
So then if all of a sudden they're saying that they're in the worst pain of their life and now their life is going to be ruined over this, which it could be, right?
Yeah.
Then it's like they have this statement saying, well, a day after the crash, you said you're fine. That's just one of the ways they trick these people. So anyway, run it by us.
Yeah, exactly. And you're looking for more people to call in and ask you for some advice. And
then we could have it. Yeah. With people calling. Exactly. If they want, I could do the show and give them the full legal advice over the show.
For sure.
And don't worry, we won't, keep your name private and whatnot. And we won't do it without their permission.
Of course.
Sooner or later we could, we'll have like a dial-in line.
Yeah.
Just
start doing them live and
that would be fun. Yeah. That one though. Let me think. I better think of the legalities first, before they start. So I call him because I killed my boyfriend.
Yeah, you're like, where's the off button?
Where's the off button? Yeah. All right, so cool. So yeah, I encourage people to call me, and we're gonna drop these every Monday. So we will see you folks next Monday.
Sounds good. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, thanks a lot, Jeffrey, as always.